In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merits of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. My Nāgārjuna Semje Namje Dewa Dan Devi Judan Dembara Jurje Dongai Judan Travarai Jurje Dongai Dede Dewa Dan Travarai Jurje Nyere Chaka Yedan Trave Tanum La Yeparai Yuroi Mai Navada Yambe Sanjam Tamje Dewa Dan Deve Yurje Donga Dan Donga Yudan Travai Dongala Mebe Dewa Dan Meja Varai May all Mother Sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Page 10a. Isaji Buji Choji Mendo Ra Lenje Nyende Nyembade Sanje Shima Nende Buwai Roga Nanda Shendo Chevarayo Ikosa Yonsa Lame Tona Chena Sansa Ende Shenye Balu Gongchik Nase Yunxie Lame Choke Motra Zade Zai Jiangzai Wadang Chujin Shabadang Jeso Yirai Guji Sowai Gera Zhuse Tabi Jisa Pamje Zobe Chanjo Chimo Om Guru Rana Nandana Punjamika Samoda Saba Samaye. The ground is sprinkled with the scented water and strewed with the flowers. It is adorned with the marrow and supreme mountain, the four continents, and the sun and the moon. As Buddha feel, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha feel. To the Lama who possess the three kayas, I offer the outer, inner, and secret offerings. With the body, wealth, all that is visible. Please grant me the supreme realization, enlightenment. Whatever merits I have gathered through the prostration, offering, compassion, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of enlightenment, all ascending, all that I dedicate. Oh, unequal refuge, ornament of the world, your fame pervades the 3,000 worlds. You are the victor, Vajradhara, without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father Jignesan. Continually, I think of no one but you. Compassionate one, grant your blessing. Dispel the darkness that's surrounded by my heart. Please bless me so that I realize the unequal. Oh, Namje Samba
Loye Cheta Cheta Chezong Tomo Tepa Cheji Go.
Please turn the wheel of Dharma of the two vehicles of independence according to the disposition and likewise the mental capacity of sentient beings.
Hello, everybody. I was requested to lead the very concise the Guru Yoga of Jigten Sungkwen's called a Guru Yoga that brings the Dharmakaya onto the path. It's, since we're studying, reflecting in the teachings of the Gongchik, so if we do this, it's very concise, it's only 5 paragraphs. When we receive blessings from this enlightened teacher, we will have a better mind to capture the meaning of the Konchik teachings. So we just it takes not too long, only 10-15 minutes. So it's all just in English. There's no Tibetan as well, So I read this, so we can read this together. First is the refuge of Bodhicitta. Taking refuge means your mind totally observe the Buddha Dharma Sangha. In other words, the enlightened mind, you are fully engaged in that nature. And then Bodhicitta is reflecting the mind towards all the sentient beings concerning of their suffering and the cause of suffering, and then desire to help them liberate from samsara to enlightenment. So that's the refuge in Bodhicitta. So Vajradhara Lama, embodiment of the 3 jewels, I take refuge in you, will enter enlightenment. Sentient beings, victim of confused protection suffering. I generate the mindset for enlightenment in order to establish you in the non-abiding state. Vajradhara Lama, embodiment of 3 jewels, I take refuge in you and will until enlightenment. Sentient beings, victim of confused projection suffering. I generate the mindset for enlightenment in order to establish you in the non-abiding state. Vajradhara Lama, embodiment of the 3 jewels, I take refuge in you and will until enlightenment. Sentient beings, victim of confused projection suffering. I generate the mindset for enlightenment in order to establish you in the non-abiding state.
Lord Vajradhara.
Next is reciting. Next is the visualization. So I'm sure everybody knows. We don't have picture here. So you visualize Jigten Sungkwen above in the space in front of you. Embodiment of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, as like a rainbow, inseparable of the appearance and emptiness, yet possess all the quality of the Buddha, as mentioned. There are 10 strength for fearlessness and so forth. So visualize that first. Lord Vajradhara Jigten Sungkwan sits on the seat of the 10th strength for fearlessness and 18 hundreds Dharma. With the radiating the light of the measure and mellow marks of love, compassion, and bodhicitta,
and non-conceptual enlightened activities reaching all my graders equally.
So you just reflect, and then with that we chant this mantra from Jigten Sungkwan. Light radiates to all 10 directions, including us, and then purify all our confusion, direct cause of the suffering, and establishing everyone to the enlightenment state. So this also is a special exercise of our bodhicitta practice. Omo Rana Shiri Sarva Siddhi Hum. 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 Next is the supplication, as we have visualized Jita Sungkun in front of us. So we should see the embodiment of ultimate and relative Bodhicitta, which provides all the peace and happiness within oneself and for every sentient beings. So with that mind, we chant this supplication prayer 3 times related to his reincarnation of the past, present, future, as mentioned, embodiment of all the Buddhas. You are the Buddhas, Nāgārjuna, Bodhicitta, and Devamkara of the past, Maitreya of the future, and Shakyamuni of the present, reincarnation of Nāgārjuna, the peerless Ranashiri, Lord Chikten Sungkun, I supplicate to you. You are the Buddhas, Nāgārjuna Paradeva, and the Devamkara of the past, Maitreya of the future, and Shakyamuni of the present, the reincarnation of Nāgārjuna, the peerless Ranashiri, Lord Chikten Sungkun, I supplicate to you. You are the Buddhas, Nāgārjuna Deva, and Devamkara of the past, Maitreya of the future, the Shakyamuni of the present, the reincarnation of Nāgārjuna, the peerless Ranashiri, Lord Chikten Sungkun, I supplicate to you. So with this, such a strong yearning devotion to free from samsara to achieve enlightenment, then the method here, we are receiving the 4 empowerment is here now. So we chant this and then we meditate individually to receive the 4 empowerments. Now that here we don't have time to go all the details, but I made a lot of commentaries on these. You can read those, the books, and we chant these ones. Light rays emanate from the body, speech, and mind, and dissolve into my 4 places, thereby purifying the 4 obscurations, bestowing the 4 empowerment, and planting the seed of the 4 kayas. The Lama then dissolved into myself. My mind is now natural luminosity, emptiness. Thank you. Then we will say the dedication prayer. Through both the innate virtue and the virtue accumulated in the three times samsara and nirvana. May I also beings filling space, none left out, realize the co-emergent ultimate reality and attain the final state of non-abiding in the existence of the space or peace, free from samsara and nirvana. Thank you. Now we are reflecting in the Gongchik teachings. So last for 2 nights, we have been just saying, I should say, I have been saying few words of the how Buddha taught the Dharma teachings, and the Dharma teachings for what purpose, is just to remind ourselves first, as we have done this short, concise Guru Yoga. Expand your mind. The mind itself, as I mentioned, is limitless, no boundary. It's free from all the boundaries. But due to our confusion, ignorance, we confine our mind in a cocoon and no space there. And due to that, then all the dualistically grasping the phenomena, and then there is hope and fear, and there is all the mental afflictions in that reaction. Due to this, then we suffer, which we don't want, but the suffering is our own mental creation. No one created our suffering. We individuals are totally responsible for our own suffering. We may blame to others. I'm suffering because of you, because of that, because of this. We have a lot of that kind of complaints. But at the end of the day, it's totally responsible for ourselves. So because of that, you see, we need to break the confined cocoon and just see mind as it is in this Guru Yoga mentioned. Mind as it is means free from all the imputed. So that to that we need to purify all these temporary obscurations. It's called adventitious defilement. Need to take care of those. That's the only the cause of our suffering. So for this, we need to study these Dharma teachings as Buddha taught. Buddha's teaching, the Dharma, is not just a religion, just to believe, or what to believe, what not to believe. It's the function of the causality, how all the causes in the samsara, how it happened. And just to break through this nirvana as well, is the nirvana realization is also depends on the causes and conditions. So that lies under the confusion and the wisdom. So that, as yesterday I mentioned, so Buddha came on this planet out of great wisdom, compassion, taught these teachings, and to help those who we are suffering. And as mentioned, the mind is such a profound, complicated, very, say, difficult to handle, because we're so habituated, like a rubber band. When you expand the rubber band, it stretches. If you release, it goes back. Through your study, understanding Dharma, it makes sense. But our habit, what's called the propensity, it just continues, as used to be. Very difficult to change that habit. Grasping self, arrogance, our ego. The ego is very sensitive. You see, our ego, if you touch, is very sensitive, doesn't agree, say, don't touch me. Let me alone. Let me live alone. So, it's hard work. It makes hard work because our habits are difficult to change, purify. That's hard work, It's not difficult to understand. You understand this. It makes sense, because it's reality. It's scientific. So now, as I mentioned, this is the 21st century. So Buddha's teaching generally, especially Gongchik teaching, is the 21st century's teaching. It transcends all the differences. Because, yes, yesterday mentioned there, the text mentioned in Tibetan, Shi Sampap. English, we don't have really good meaning translation on this. Shi Sampap is as it is. Sometimes it's a basic nature. So sometimes we translate more to be abiding, how things are abide, how they function on the basis of the causality. All the things we make. So even in Buddhism, you say, this system is this great master's system. Like say, this is the Chandrakirti's system. This is the Asanga's system. These are all systems that are created, are just a method to follow the path. The teaching itself is beyond all those systems. Because of that, you have heard a lot. Inexpressible. Inexpressible means you cannot express as what that ad it is. I think so. I used to say this quite a few times. Like somebody explains about the honey. The honey, a place where there's no honey at all. And then there's a scholar goes there, a group of people who have no experience of the honey. So the honey is this how honey is produced and all this and other. That those people are so curious. The honey is sweet, this. Then that master gives a drop of honey to each individuals and taste in the tongue. So then saying, this is the honey. So okay. Now you can explain about what you feel. Oh, it's sweet. What is sweet? What sweet is look like? You cannot express. That's reality nature. There's nothing to impute it as it is. That's the mode of biting of the honey test. So all this universe is functioned within the causality. At the same time, those causality nature itself is not beyond the emptiness. That emptiness manifests into this all causality. These causalities are dissolved into emptiness, and in that there's no separation. So you see, when you have what about that is our root cause of confusion, ignorance, self-grasping, all this. You can take care of this. The wisdom will give us opportunity first to see what's the root cause of that. You just reflect on that. And then see, there's no such thing called self-attachment, aversion. When the three portions are taken care of, there's no any other cause that brings suffering. So we are desperate to free from the suffering, and this is how we have to do it. That's, Buddha talked that way, and Jigten Sumgun communicated what Buddha taught precisely as it is. That's why the Gongchik is so important. Not just some virtual statement. It's virtual statement. They said this, they said, you can literally you can explain this and that. But we have to understand overall the reality, how Buddha taught the Dharma teachings. And still, 21st century is so relevant. It's because, as I mentioned, 21st century is the century of the education. And these teachings are based on the education, wisdom, understanding. But in the 21st century, a lot of those universities established to generate more confusion, more attachment, more, you're so smart making wrong things, Yes, like say, for example, weapons to destroy. The weapons are made to destroy the people's life. And they are so smart how to make those weapons. So Buddha's teaching is as I mentioned, lies between virtue and non-virtue. And it's very difficult people to understand what is virtue, what is non-virtue. If you say this is non-virtue, why? This is just cultural system. So if you say this is non-virtue, so why it makes non-virtue? Why it makes virtue? Even great scientists also difficult to really to understand, penetrate that nature. You know? So here we have to understand. First, look at the result, the suffering, happiness, what we're experiencing. And then after that, what's the cause of the suffering? As mentioned, suffering, there are so many layers of suffering. You know? Then look at the mind, you see. The mind, as yesterday mentioned, like anger. There's first I dislike. I dislike means there's some sense of aversion. No? Then after that, there comes more like aversion. Say, I'm annoyed, you know. So I'm angry, you know. And then I'm just, you know, really frustrated. And then you see, then there comes rage, as mentioned, you know, outrage and burst outrage. You see so many degrees of like same thing like desire. That is, I like this. Then it's then this desire so strong. So these are the cause of suffering. Look at that. No. So, but we need such a critical insight to see these things. No, without having critical insight, difficult to accept. No? Because we go according to our habit. No? So, no, like that's okay. So this, what Buddha taught is the 21st century, is totally relevant. So the practice of loving kindness, compassion, as mentioned, is nothing to do with the spiritual. It's the requirement of whole universe, everybody. You see, those who are ruthless due to lack of love and compassion, they create suffering. Those who have love and compassion, who doesn't believe any religion, there's a peace and happiness. It's obvious, it's clear. You know? So that we need to practice, bring in the heart. It's required, because it's just we need to replace our bad habit. You know, replace our bad habit, which are cause of suffering, and then with the peace for happiness. You know? And that peace and happiness, the cause of love and compassion, is the expression of the Buddha nature, as I mentioned. You know? So when it's expand, when one's become Buddha, you say, then it's totally Buddha nature is revealed. And then Buddha becomes the embodiment of love and compassion. Nothing but source of peace and happiness. You know, look at this. So that Gongchik teaching is beyond religion, a belief system, I should say, you know. It's causality, it's explanation of the causality of samsara, causality of nirvana. That's in our own mind, we have that. So look at our mind when there's a suffering. See, as yesterday mentioned, this is our mind, the five skandha. When the five skandha is under the control of all the mental affliction, so this body itself is nothing but state of suffering. So that's where the body wanders in the samsara. One of the Vajra statement. That look at that, you see. In the world, just look, you know. It's a very powerful statement. We all work so hard to keep this body happy, comfortable. You know, to have a nice meal, to have a nice clothes, to have a nice house, to have a nice car. No? Because of the body. If there's no body, we don't need car. No? If there's no body, we don't need a house. So how much we are working hard to have a house? The house becomes so expensive. Hundreds and thousands of millions. And we work so hard. No? To have a nice car, to have a nice car, it's expensive car, We have to work hard to make money to buy that car for the body. Now look at nowadays, all the smartphones, which are looking in every day, every moment, you can't miss it, because you are looking in your eyes. It's just to please your body. How much you pay, all these things. So the body wanders in the samsara. That's first thing. Then we age, the body age. How much suffering is there? And we get sick, body gets sick. We suffer there. Finally, we die. How much suffering is there? So before that, you see, all this insurance, health insurance, you see, how much you have to pay, how expensive they are. Retirement, we're talking so much about, isn't it? The retirement becomes so expensive just to protect this body. We know one day we'll die, but still we want to keep the body as comfortable as possible out of a lot of expenses. So this we should look at the Dharma teachings. If you practice loving kindness, compassion, of course you get sick. Dharma practitioner, doesn't matter who they are, Buddhist, non-Buddhist, believer, non-believer, you are born, then you'll age, you'll get sick, you'll die, But if you have Dharma, you age a little better, more comfort is there. You get sick, but when there's a Dharma, loving kindness, compassion, Bodhicitta, your sickness is lighter. We die, but when you have Bodhicitta, you die more peacefully. Regardless whether you have all the conditions or not. So look at this, how Dharma is. Dharma cannot replace. So Bodhicitta is such a precious, as I mentioned, Jigten Songkun is the embodiment of the Bodhicitta. The perfection of the Bodhicitta of the relative, and the Bodhicitta of the ultimate. So, relation to this, I thought to read some quotations from Nāgārjuna. It's called Commentary on Bodhicitta. This, I think, translation is a little different, but this, what I got is also not so bad. I won't read from the beginning because the beginning is different. I just read the section of the Bodhicitta. Look, verse 46. It starts from there. Even though we have the beginning, but do you have that? Lacking attributes and origin, it does not exist, and the words recoil from it. The character of Bodhicitta and the enlightenment itself is indivisible from space. Different translation, isn't it? Okay, but I have to read this. Now this ultimate bodhicitta, first you have to understand, is ultimate bodhicitta. Okay. That, having said that, look at your mind. When you look at your mind, where the mind exists, mind is not exist outside, inside, in between, but at the same time, mind is there. See? What do you want? Okay. Oh, sorry. So that the ultimate mind is saying here, lacking attributes and origin. In Tibetan called the ultimate mind itself is lacking the attributes. Attributes means the quality of that things. First, that agent itself is not exist. When the agent is not exist, how you can explain the attribute of that? And origin means born, birth. There's no birth, death. This unborn, it's called. And it does not exist, and words require from it. Means beyond the expression. So it is. So the character of bodhicitta and enlightenment itself is indivisible from space. It's in like the space. You can say space. Where's the space? You say. So you say this is space. How big it is. What's color of the space? There's no color. Space. It's beyond expression. So the mind is the enlightenment. The bodhicitta is like the space, the ultimate bodhicitta. Okay. Then next is saying the Buddha, those great beings dwell in the essence of enlightenment, and also those endowed with the great compassion at all times know that emptiness is similar to space. Ultimately, the Buddha, the great beings who dwell within in the enlightenment, within in the essence of the ultimate bodhicitta, and who has such a great, it's called non-referential compassion. Is all are snatch of the emptiness, which is similar to the space. Yeah. So that about that, then and therefore, Bodhisattva should at all times meditate upon this basis of phenomena, basis of this emptiness, because it's the total method to uproot our delusion. Basically, it just helps us. Where's your ignorance? Look at that, Where's your ignorance? Where's your attachment? Where's your anger? It's all mental delusion. They are not there. When you look at carefully, there's absolute wisdom. Regarding to this, you see now the quantum physics theory. Quantum physics theory, they at the solution they got, this all dust particles are nothing but empty. Now we cannot do anything. There's nothing we can handle that. So they forget that. It's just empty. Go back to the relative state. But here in the Buddha's teaching, that is the absolute weapon to uproot all your enemies of the suffering, mental delusions. See, it's yesterday I mentioned it. The mind is the one who's the root cause of suffering in the samsara, and the mind is the one, the root cause for the enlightenment. When the mind is now dwell within in this delusion, then it creates all the suffering and confusion is there. Like I said, drug addicted. No. When you have drug addicted, then it just surrounds your suffering. Until you stop it, it continues their suffering, Once you know, oh, my suffering all around is because of I use the drug. So I get rid of it. I'm free from that. And then drug-related, all the sufferings are ceased to exist. So our mental confusion is the drug. So that kind of drug is only can taken care of by the wisdom. There's no other alternative. Okay. There's no magic mushroom. Okay. So that this is why it is talking about, you see. We can have all the relative state, they are method, they are necessary. We need this to develop. But at the end of the day, then this is the absolute method to uproot the total cause of suffering. That's why actually these teachings should be practiced by everybody in the samsara, not just only for Buddhists, not just for monks and nuns, but lay people and everybody, because we all desire for peace and happiness, as I mentioned. We all desire to free from suffering. And this is the only way. Now you can see how many years since now in the world, so thousands of years investigating politically, business, science, all this are going through step by step, isn't it? Haven't found yet. Still investigating, Then, so the political, the parties, the rivalries, each other, they try to defeat each other instead of defeating the mental affliction, and then become more, more problem, more confusion. They hate each other. They take revenge each other instead of helping each other. More chaos, I should say, So we need to take care of this mental delusion. This is absolutely how to take care of this, you see. So, and therefore, Bodhicitta should at all times meditate. Meditate means reflect repeatedly to take care of all the problems, confusion, cause of suffering. Upon this base of all phenomena, emptiness, the peaceful emptiness. Emptiness means emptiness of the mental delusions. And then mind becomes peaceful, ultimate peaceful, illusion-like and groundless. See, everything, illusion means everything manifests, dissolves, manifests, dissolves. Look at the cloud. The cloud manifests, dissolve into the sky, manifests, dissolve into, so that's illusion. Look at the rainbow. When the rainbow appears, oh, wonderful rainbow, you take picture, oh, such ceremony there, Rinpoche appeared, but Rinpoche disappeared. There's nothing. So everything's like that. Look at, So that's called illusion. And groundless. No, these delusions has no basis, which overthrow existence in samsara. So through the reflection of this ultimate bodhicitta, all the delusion has no place, no space. That's why Dharma is so precious. This is the Dharma. This is the teaching that we have to reflect on, study, practice. All the chanting, those are good, reminding. We're using so many different melodies, Melodies may be good, maybe not good, depends on your motivation. With such a beautiful melody, but with attachment. If you chant with the melody, with the attachment, it's not virtue. It's not virtue. With the beautiful melody in the mind, with the anger, resentment, it's not virtue. So these chanting ceremonies depends on our motivation. They are not the Dharma practice. This is the Dharma practice. Now you visualize deity, then with so I want to destroy that person, so chant mantra, oh, please help me, I don't want to destroy. The deity becomes a demon, Not Buddha. We make that mind, Then see, next is, if you have the number, verse 49, it said, Kimetane Tonyeta, Dami Chicha, Tongbanyi, Dani member Kankomba, Dinu Komba Cheba means. So the emptiness, all the emptiness is not the same. Depends on the mind, the meditator, how much you are advanced in the practice of emptiness. Here, look, see, then do not meditate on this, who meditate up in a lesser kind of emptiness. Negating, you negate through the analysis. So, no. Through the analysis, you negate all this is, and then there's nothing exists. So that's emptiness. It's kind of emptiness, but not the perfect emptiness. Say, there's no self. Where's the self? Outside, inside, where? They say, oh yes, there's no self. Then you should negate that. You are grasping of the grasping of the self. You negate through this analysis. You are meditating there. It's not the ultimate practice of the emptiness. See, these are very important. A so-called absence of origin, emptiness, no self. Absence of origin. There's no birth. It's everything unborn, like the sky, like the flower of the sky. Flower of the sky exist or not exist? What do you think? The flower of sky is not exist, How a flower can grow in the sky? So something like, even in the relative state, negating even in the relative state that is not exist. In the relative, we communicate, I, you, no? Even though there is no self, it exists, but we communicate. Buddha even who realized the selfless nature, so I teach when I walk, I went to these places, I have communicated. So something like nihilist. So that's what's called, no? And then emptiness, self, no self, so forth. This, you see, these are not the right practice to emptiness. So they do not meditate on this, who meditate upon a lesser kind of emptiness. So like inferior mind, also not advanced in the practice, have not kind of got enough training in the practice, just beginning of the analysis, negating these things. And so emptiness, there's many layers of emptiness. So emptiness. Then the great emptiness, the profound emptiness. And then there comes all-pervading emptiness, you see, There's many layers. It's not just one. When the practitioners, when they go through step by step. So that's why I'm reading this. The Gongchik teaching is about that, you see. So therefore, the next is the 50. Kedan meke namdoke. Gyaltsen pai cinyin xin. Dunyin sanje ji song shen. Da dongpa nyi me she. Emptiness, the Buddha have defined as but emptying of the stream. So, we'll see, maybe if I read all, of good and evil thoughts, they do not speak of emptiness in any other way. That's what's called within in the emptiness. Then the virtue, non-virtues cease to exist. So like the emptiness is the one that creates your virtue or non-virtue, this not exist. Not realizing the virtue itself is emptiness. Non-virtue itself is emptiness. When you're meditating, the negative thoughts manifest in the mind, and you meditate on the emptiness, and that emptiness becomes like a hammer to stop your negative thoughts. For the beginner, it's helpful, but it's not the absolute meaning of the emptiness. See, these are very fine and profound meaning, See, when you start to just so like this nihilist type of emptiness. It's not the real emptiness. So that's why we are so much misunderstood about the emptiness. people those who are involved in the Buddhist, sometimes the people say Buddhists are so negative. First of all, they tell you everything's samsara is nothing but suffering, suffering, suffering. Whatever you have, it's suffering, suffering, suffering. Then after some time, they will tell you everything's impermanent, illusion. Then after that, everything's empty. Now what you have? There's no any positive in the life. So this, what it tells about that is we are not that. Everything functions, but functions within the emptiness, and that emptiness is not separate from that functioning of the causality. The causality is not separate from the emptiness. See that, meditate on that. Then, as I mentioned, there's no space for the ignorance to exist. When the ignorance is when the ignorance has no space, then there's no space, or there's no manifestation of the attachment and anger. See, that's why we need to this kind of understanding practice. You see. So then here comes, you see, a mind abiding conceptless, absence of concept, has the character of space. And those who meditate on emptiness, meditate, the Buddha says, on the spaciousness. So this is what is now. When you see everything's illusory nature, their nature is emptiness, then there's nothing to focus on. It's called non-referential meditation. You achieve the unconfined nature of the mind, the vastness, the spaces, the space nature. So maintaining the mind free from all the boundary, grasping, it's that itself is meditating on the space. So this kind of emptiness is now, you see, inferior way of practice of emptiness. And the total, the nature of the emptiness itself, you can see the difference, see, no? So because of that, he said, now here you see, verse, I read the 50, I think 51 I read, 52, see, look at the lion's roar of emptiness intimidates the theories of philosopher. No matter what position they embrace, that very stance refers to the emptiness. So this total nature of this emptiness is like lion roars. When the lion roars, all the beasts are intimidated. They're afraid. So lion is roaring, Same thing when you have this kind of wisdom of emptiness, how everything is within in the emptiness. No separation. All these intellectual individuals are disputed. Whatever things exist, that's inseparable from the emptiness. That very emptiness itself is not different from that things exist. Now next you see verse 53. He said, now here's, this is very good. Those who say that consciousness is momentary, means impermanent. Our consciousness, our mind is very momentary. Every second is changing. No? That's what we're thinking constantly, you see. So those who say consciousness is momentary, so the momentary must also grant that it is not permanent. That shows, since the mind is impermanent, is not, since it is impermanent, it shows it's not permanent. See, it's very obvious. No? Sometimes we say, there's a divine soul. Have you heard of that? Besides mind, where there can be a divine soul, as something permanent. Oh. You know, directly it contradicts of that your mind is impermanent. So, and if that mind is impermanent, how does this contradict its emptiness? So since it is impermanent, how it can contradict the emptiness? Make sense? There we need some analysis, okay? How we need analysis, you see. Past, future, okay? Then the past, future, no? And past is past, future is future, past is past, future. You make the gap narrow, make narrow. Now, when you come to at the end, still past is past, future is future. Past is not exist, it's past, no? It's not exist, past, gone. Future is not yet here, it's not exist. Now you make more narrow, and then this dust particle of this time, and there is no something exists in between past and future. You see, so that very nature is emptiness. Just for our intellectual understanding, no? Right now we think now, so that now itself is nothing but emptiness. So there's nothing to attach to this, see. The point is, there's nothing to attach to it. There's no something that exists to grasp, to fixate it. And that allows us to see the reality nature of this all phenomena. And then you see, oh, this everything, what you see is just a manifestation. Now people may ask, then what helps? What's the benefit there? No? When you realize the past is past, future, future, yes, that makes sense, you know. Then what's the benefit there? There's no negative emotions. When there's no negative emotions, there's no confusion, there's no suffering. And we want that, isn't it? Then when you have that kind of wisdom, later will come. then you have such great compassion to all the sentient beings who have not realized this, who are confused. No. So wisdom, that's how is wisdom you start. You establish your wisdom. And then from that wisdom, how is to manifest the compassion. You see, there's such amazing, now that Nāgārjuna write this, and that completely, totally conveys by Bodhicitta Sungwan of this message. So next, the continuation of that 54 verse. Dona Sanjay Namjin, Semni Meta Nishin, Tada Semni Tunji, Jichina Shemiyus. All the Buddhas have, in brief, declared that mind to be impermanent. So because Buddha saw everything in that nature. So basically, Buddha is not the creator of the impermanent of the sentient being's mind, okay? But Buddha saw directly the impermanence of all sentient beings' mind. So by that wisdom, Buddha taught these teachings. That's what Nāgārjuna is saying, impermanent. When our mind is so impermanent, why should it not be said, therefore, that mind is also empty? And because of that, the nature of the mind itself is empty. Such a profound, you see, message. And you can meditate there. Now next, verse 55. This emptiness is not something created, okay? We should understand how things are abide by self. That is the word I mentioned, Shisam Pap, is coming here. No, the Shisam, the translation is, it's not really we can understand this color. Sometimes they translate innate disposition or basic disposition they use as, or especially mode of abiding use, lies naturally as it is, used as Shisam Pap, or abiding of all the phenomena was the Buddha taught. In this, he said, the natural state, here we have the natural state of the abiding of all phenomena without exception was taught by the perfect Buddha. Because he knows, Buddha knows everything and perceives everything. So Buddha knows as it is, Buddha knows everything. Okay. So that is here, is now saying here. Now we'll read this. Always from the very outset, mind has lacked inherent nature, but not, should understand, no? I do not say a thing inherently exists. It's deprived of its inherent nature. Toma nyene semgene rashi tato mebrjus. Right, it says right from the beginning, originally or primordially, the mind itself does not exist inherently. It's Buddha taught that. Buddha taught according to the nature of this phenomena. Okay. If that's not the case, things exist, and then we investigate, they are not exist. We make something different from the reality nature. Saying then is, it contradicts, so said, it contradicts the way you explain and way how things functions, exist. So that should not be, for our understanding. And mind has lacked the inherent nature, but not, I do not say a thing inherently exists. If that's the case, it deprives of its inherent natures. So inherent, where then it is against with the inherent nature. See, this is a very important point. Okay. Okay. And here's a Nāgārjuna semgine dāgin nepa bangbayins. Rāngirāshin led depa dinichunam chunyi mins. See, then it continues. By speaking in this way, a mind endowed with self has been rejected. The mind has the self. The mind exists, but it's rejected intellectually. No, it's rejected and reputed. Then, the essence of the phenomena cannot be what transcend their very nature. So we're not communicating the very nature of the as it is. Because the things that exist, now the things that exist, but we're saying these do not exist. So we're rejecting the reality nature of the phenomena. Just say, myself is exist, but through my intellectual mind, I reject the self, get rid of the self. So that means we're not communicating how things are exist where it is. No. We have to communicate the way how things are function as it is. But in this way, it goes other way around. Oh. Maybe you are difficult to comprehend, but this is how I'm trying to explain, See, the essence of phenomena cannot be what transcend their very nature. How things are exist, and where we are communicating, if you make different, then it contradicts each other. Okay. Then we are not communicating the reality nature of all the phenomena. Say if the reality phenomena, they exist. Okay. The self is exist. So then through the mathematical system, we just, all the analysis system, we try to destroy them. So then it becomes contradicts. Okay. So here say, that's not the case. Here now, it speaks so precisely here. Just as sweetness is the nature of the molasses. Molasses is what? Molasses. Oh, brown sugar. Yeah, brown sugar, yes. There's a brown sugar. The nature of the brown sugar is sweet, isn't it? You made it believe to be sweet, or it is sweet by itself. You see, it's a sweet by itself, isn't it? Anybody who tastes the molasses will say sweet, isn't it? From Alaska, okay, from Massachusetts, people from throughout the United States, and Europeans, Asians, Africans, anybody who tastes the molasses, they will say sweet, isn't it? So the nature of the molasses is sweet. It's not my belief system. It's not that I have created or Buddha has created. See. And just as fire's nature is its heat. Fire is hot, isn't it? Anybody who touches the fire will burn you. If you say, I don't believe fire is hot, So let's say, you can say, let's try, A person who says, I don't believe fire is hot, so please come in here, here's the fire, please touch, And then they touch it, oh, it's burnt, So that's the reality nature. This is a very profound message. Nāgārjuna brings that, see. In such a way is emptiness asserted as the nature of the phenomena, see. With this example, so what here Nāgārjuna says, Nāgārjuna says, the fire is hot. Yeah, oh yes, fire is hot. The molasses is sweet. Yes, same way, now the nature of the phenomena, nature is emptiness. So there's no argument now. Okay. This is a very important statement, okay. There's, from the point as mentioned, the first verse statement in the Gongchik, Shugun Shisam Pati Nilu, then regarding to that, see. So from that point, you see, Buddha's teaching is not a religion. What you say is everything. It's comprehensive. It's the reality nature of all phenomena. At the same time, it's the solution for all our confusion. It's the solution of the suffering. That, as I mentioned, Buddha taught that way, and then Jigdusungpan totally conveyed what the Buddha taught. That's a Gongchik. It's about that, you see. It's not just something, say, oh, the Jigdusungpan believes this scholar believes this, and this other scholar said this other Jigdusungpan said this. We're not doing that. We are providing the complete nature of the whole phenomena as Buddha taught, that totally, perfectly communicated by Jigten. That's why we need this teaching in this 21st century. But you have to have wisdom to communicate, you see. Okay. You who are taking responsibility has such a great responsibility. First to study this and practice this, and then help whole in the universe. See. Okay. Now there, you see, when you talk about the emptiness, there's a danger of the nihilist. There's a danger of the eternalist. To free from that. Now next, the verse is coming, you see. Declaring emptiness to be their nature. There is not a nihilistic proposition, you see. When you say everything is empty, from the point of view of the reality nature, as it is, there's no inner danger to be nihilist, because that's the reality nature. There is a danger where the virtue is the cause for peace and happiness. The non-virtue is the cause of suffering. So I don't believe that. If you say that, this can be nihilist. But nature of the virtue is emptiness. The nature of the non-virtue is emptiness. So being emptiness doesn't transcend the result of peace and happiness and suffering. Make sense? We have to have a strong brain, you know. Okay, that's called precious human life. You have to have a strong, precious human life, okay? That now you see what means precious human life. Not everybody has this opportunity. Accept this, you see. So in this position, neither do we mean at all that emptiness is permanent. Emptiness is neither nihilist nor eternalist. It's non-duality. Everything functions within the emptiness. So the Gongchik comprehends everything. Okay. So within the emptiness. So you know emptiness here, what it means? There's no independent entity that exists inherently. That's what's called emptiness. It doesn't mean the causality. The causes, conditions cannot function. All the causes, condition functions within the emptiness. So that requires a lot of meditation practice. Our duality mind cannot capture the non-duality. The unenlightened mind cannot capture the enlightened mind. Okay. To your own mind, you see, your own dualistic mind cannot capture your non-duality mind, you see. It's within you, within ourselves. So now you see how Gongchik is profound. Such precious, you see. Oh, and he said, now next, see, verse 59, it communicates the inseparability nature of the emptiness and interdependent. Okay. So interdependent, there are 12 link interdependent. So there's going through this, The workings of dependent co-production arising in 12 links. The workings of dependent. That dependent is co-production arising in the 12 links that start with the ignorance and end with the age and death. You have the death, is the aging and death. There should be a death. Here is missing. No, from the ignorance, the first start with the ignorance. We have in the Gongchik. The death, is the death or not? No, so you should write that. Age and death. Yes. The Navata Shiva. That is the Mariknasam Kashipar, Kawata Shiva. Yeah. In Tibetan, there's a Kashi. Should have, even in Tibetan, it's missing that. No. So that is this. We wander in the samsara with this 12 interdependent. Okay. Just to have a brief understanding. I'm sure many of you have. I'm sure you have also studied the jewel ornament of liberation. Now, if you have studied the jewel ornament of liberation, chapters 16, the samadhi, in that describe the 12 interdependent links so beautifully. No, such a precious way, complete, but very concise way. So you must study jewel ornament of liberation. Okay. But here now, starting from, it's not to start with the ignorance and end with the aging and death. So nothing is functioned independently. First, with the start of the ignorance. Ignorance is confused mind. Very smart and confused mind, okay? We should see this. Otherwise, ignorance means very dull, cannot think anything, But ignorance, they are very smart people. They can do lot of mischievous act, work. If you are not smart, you cannot do those things. No. In such case, I'm not smart, I feel very stupid, Look at this modern technologies. Out of really smart, you can make all this internet, isn't it? Every day there's something new, creating new. And that makes you miserable, Then you cannot open it and you cannot close it, Then you have to call the company, how to handle all those things. It's because of being smart. So ignorance is very smart to create the cause of suffering. So the first ignorance. Then from ignorance comes Marik, Duje, formations. from the ignorance, mental afflictions. So you see desire, attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy. This all 84,000 mental afflictions are within the ignorance. Okay. Sometimes we think ignorance and attachment, aversion, there are three different things, But actually, without ignorance, the attachment, aversion cannot function. So they are within the ignorance. So anyhow, ignorance, mental formation, consciousness, marik, duche, namshe, then name and form. See, marik, duche, namshe, mingsu, geshe, increasing field. Contact with objects. Then feeling. When there's contact, when you see something, when you contact with the form, sound, smell, taste, and there's a feeling, isn't it? You like, dislike, or neutral, Then when you like, there's a craving, attachment. Oh, I like this. And when there's craving, no, not craving, sorry. Desire. Yes, desire, craving. Then lemper, grasping. You want to hold on. And from that functions, it creates the existence, siba. From that karma creation, we are reborn. Birth. Birth is the beginning of our life and the beginning of our problem. Okay. From there, then it starts all the life in the samsara. All the problems you start there. You go through all this. And then there comes aging. When the four elements decaying, it's aging. And when they are not coordinating well, then sickness. Four elements, when they're not coordinating well, getting sick. Then when all abilities exist, and when all the abilities of four elements now are non-exist, cannot function, death. So these are all interdependent. Without the birth, there's no death. Without the birth, there's no aging, sickness. The birth is come from karma. No? The karma is created by the more what's called craving. And then attachment. This is better. And then contact. Then increasing field. And then name and form, consciousness. Then mental formation, or to the ignorance. When the ignorance is dysfunction, all the rest disappear. So to comprehend ignorance, what is the best? The antidote, solution. Without wisdom, this wisdom relates to emptiness. Without realizing the emptiness, we cannot get rid of the ignorance. One may have such great loving kindness. One may have such great compassion. You say, this person is such great, is a compassionate person, or such great teacher, But without the wisdom of realization of emptiness, cannot get rid of ignorance. No? In the Pramana, Chandakirti, not Chandakirti, Dharmakirti mentioned, Samso Mombang Gamesh, Nyabakunto Sarju means. Even those very ignorant person have such great loving kindness, compassion. But without the wisdom, you cannot get rid of the ignorance. So just interdependent, interconnected. How are interconnected? From this, if one is not exist, all the rest cannot function. So that shows that nature itself is not different from the emptiness. So they function within the emptiness, but we need a wisdom to see that how fragile it is. Without ignorance, they are very powerful. When there's great wisdom, they are so fragile. So that would here, it says, because of this estimation, all this, I say, resemble dream and magical display. This all are nothing but like a dream, magical display, magic show, illusory nature. So from there, we should develop courage. So yes, I can do. Because they have done nothing but illusion. They are nothing but like a dream. But due to lack of my courage, my devotion, still I'm wanting the samsara. You see, that's why you need to have awareness, the disadvantage of the samsara. How much we are suffering in the samsara, then how much Buddha has this great wisdom to talk these teachings. We individually have to involve this, take the responsibilities. No, Buddha cannot bestow, say, this you take it, as other dimension. Buddha taught all these teachings out of such a great responsible way. Compassion, wisdom. And Buddha continues to teach this way. And we should always take refuge in the Buddha and take refuge in the Dharma. This is the way, when you apply, it means you are taking refuge in Dharma. No? How we're doing? We're doing okay? Everybody enjoying? Now we are talking about Gongchik, you see? Oh, the precious teaching that taught by Lord Jigten Sungpa. At that time, when Jigten Sungpa was in the war, all the teachers, they just, admire, respected. Only some individuals who are a little bit, jealous, otherwise, totally respected. That's why hundreds and thousands of disciples gathered due to that. So because he teaches that, he's not showing miracle powers, I can fly, you follow me, I can show this dust or this, It's not showing that. Giving the precious teaching directly. I teach you, go to retreat, practice, and that will help you. No? So develop this, devotion to Jigten Sungpa, and then follow these teachings. See? Oh, here. Now next, verse 60. Apart from such a 12-link wheel that roll along the path of life, I do not think that there are beings wrapping the result of what they do. And I think call the Sibet Lamdo Korvatis, see, these 12 interdependent connection, we all wanderers in the samsara. No one is responsible for that except individual ourselves. We are the responsible. Other than this 12 interdependent links, there's no other. No. So within this 12 interdependent link, then we create the karma, and then we experience the result. Through our virtuous act, we experience temporary peace and happiness. We enjoy beautiful breakfast, we enjoy good lunch. And then sometimes we're depressed in the mind. While you are enjoying beautiful breakfast, mentally depressed. It's because of the manifestation of the karma that we have created. So besides that, there's no other who can create the cause for you. We create ourselves all this. Yeah. This goes life after life. So that here now says 61. In dependence and on a mirror, the face mandala appears. The face is not transferred into the mirror, and yet without the mirror, there's no image of the face. So when you look at your face in the mirror, you see your face, isn't it, the mirror? Isn't it? Is your face transformed into the mirror? Not yet, isn't it? Your face is still here, but still you see your face in the mirror. What happened to that? Same thing, our karma. With this example, the karma we have met that reflects the next rebirth. Or rebirth is not just only the body rebirth, but every moment is a rebirth of our mind. When you feel good, there's a cause to feel good. When you feel not good, there's cause not to feel good. It's the reflection of the mind. Like your reflection of the face in the mirror. Or in other words, you can see the moon's reflection on the lake. So is the moon really in the lake? The moon is still in the sky, but you see the reflection in the lake. So it depends the moon. When the moon is clear, then reflection is clear. When the moon is the cloud, the reflection is not clear. So same thing, your karma's reflection, the result is manifested. It's all, I would say, interdependent, interconnected. Something substantial is there. It's all a reflection of the mind, reflection of the karma. We should see this. No. So now just This all is your mind. Then when I say it's all your mind, you may say, oh, this table is your mind. The table is not my mind. But you see, the table is good or not good, it's my mind's reflection. You see, the table is solid, not solid, it's my mind. You see, if the table says just a table is real or illusory nature, it's my reflection. The table is emptiness or something inherent exists, it's my mind's reflection. You see, that's why I say the table is my mind. Not saying this table, this is my mind, but you can see how table is my mind. Therefore, if there are, say, 5 people face to me, some say, oh, it's very good table. Some say, oh, no, not so good. Some say it's small. So some says it's enough size. Some say it's too big. It's a reflection of the individuals, the projection of the individual that shows table is not exist inherently. It's my own expression, individual's expression. You see the table. So the individuals who sees the table is so beautiful, wonderful. I'm so attached to this. I wish I have the table. Maybe I'll take with me. You say no. Some say, no, I don't want this table. This is so ugly, We'll never touch the table. Just leave behind, You see, that shows table itself does not exist inherently. Make sense? This is the wisdom of the Buddha's teaching, or Buddha's wisdom. It's all because of this, the Buddha's teaching is the solution of the suffering of the samsara. Okay. But we individually need to take responsibility. Yeah. So maybe we, this afternoon we'll continue. Do you think this is good, worthwhile to go through this? I feel this is the really communicates the Gongchik teaching, what Jigten Sungpa said, And so precise, so clear, comprehensive. I'm just saying very roughly, I don't know the details, okay? I have to admit, I have to admit my limitation, okay? Okay, now first, please relax yourself, your body, the mind, and take a deep breath, inhale fully. And exhale all our tension. And then just reflect what we went through. If you got some benefit, please appreciate, rejoice, and rejoice your interest in the Dharma, okay? So I'm so fortunate I have this precious human life. And these teachings are so helpful. This is because of I've done something good in my life. I'm inspired to do more, better. relax. No. And then, as I mentioned other day, we just say, may all Mother Sentient beings have happiness and peace. May all Mother Sentient beings free from this suffering. May they swiftly attain enlightenment without. This is very simple, yet very profound. Meditate on this. It's a cause for our peace and happiness. Always say these prayers anytime, anywhere. If you go to bed, you say these prayers 3 times. When you wake up, say these prayers 3 times. It will heal your mind. It will heal your body. Okay. Maybe we should say this. We have a page of dedication prayer. Dedication prayer by Lord Gyaltsen. This is 1 page, so we shall say it, Yeah, please.
Glorious, holy,
venerable, precious, kind,
root
root lineage lamas,
divine assemblies of
Vedants,
Vedants,
assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas,
Yoginis,
Yoginis, dwelling in the 10 direction. Please hear my prayer.
May the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana and innate root of virtue,
not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth, etc., or particular Buddha.
May all Mother Sentient
beings,
especially those enemies who hate me in mind, obstructive harm, misleading Maras and opposers, experience happiness and separated from suffering, swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all things through body, speech, and mind. May the affliction of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in mind. May the attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise even at a moment. May my strength be moistured by loving kindness and compassion and Bodhicitta. And through that, may I become spiritual master of the good qualities equal to the infinite spirit. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May I
prolonged suffering not arise even at the time of my death.
May I not die with the negative thoughts. May I not die confused by a wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and the pervading clarity of Dharma thought. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the Paratho.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you all the Khenpo, Lamas, and Sangha. We will take a short break and we will resume again at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So please come back and join us for more of the continuation, the profound teaching. Thank you.
Thank you. So would you allow me to sit there so everybody want to have a little picture before we have lunch? So